So how do you go about transforming an entire national economy? Well, it's not just about throwing money at problems. It's about a whole new idea. And that's exactly what we're going to dive into today, the Iraq Fund for Development. This is an institution designed to do something pretty radical, to shift the country away from total state dependency and towards a really dynamic partnership with the private sector.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to get a handle on the sheer scale of the challenges Iraq is facing. Then we'll break down the fund's super innovative philosophy and its unique structure. And finally, we'll look at how it's actually turning all those big problems into real, tangible projects.
So, to really get why this fund is such a big deal, we first need to understand the huge economic and infrastructure hurdles that Iraq is up against. I mean, we're talking about a monumental task here.
You know, the country is facing deficits so massive that the government just can't fix them with the old playbook of traditional spending. That model, it just wasn't built for challenges on this kind of scale.
Let's just take education for an example. Right now, to meet the current demand and, provide for the next generation, there's a shortage of at least 10,000 schools across the country. Think about that number, 10,000. And it's not just schools. The housing crisis is honestly just as staggering. We're talking about a need for nearly 3 million new homes. Numbers like these, they just scream for a completely new way of thinking. So you've got these massive problems, right? How on earth do you even begin to tackle them? Well, that brings us to the fund's new philosophy. This isn't just about signing checks for projects. It's about fundamentally rewiring the country's entire economic engine.
And this right here is the game changer. The old model was pretty straightforward. The state paid for and did everything. The new model? It completely redefines the state's role. It becomes a strategic partner that uses its capital to buy services from a private sector that is empowered to do the building and the operating.
And this quote from the CEO, Mohammed Al-Najjar, just nails it. It is all about leverage. The state's money isn't the whole budget. It's the seed. It's the magnet designed to pull in multiples of that amount from private investors, both from inside Iraq and from all over the world. What this means is it's not a spend it and forget it kind of fund. Not at all. It's a true investment vehicle. The whole point is to use money to make more money, and then all those profits get plowed right back into a continuous cycle of national development.
Okay, so you have this brilliant idea, but how do you actually make it work? To attract billions in private capital, you have to build something that investors, at home and abroad, can really truly trust. And that's where the structure comes in. They've set up the leadership in a really smart, balanced way. Yeah, it's chaired by the Prime Minister for that high-level government backing, but the board has equal representation from the government and the private sector. That ensures a business-first, efficient mindset is baked right in.
The fund also uses this really innovative tool called the Golden Share. In any company it partners with, this gives it veto power over huge strategic decisions. It's like a safety switch. It protects the national interest without getting the company bogged down in day-to-day bureaucracy. Protection without interference. It's pretty clever.
And to meet global standards, you know what investors absolutely love? Transparency. So it operates with a dual audit system. You've got the Iraqi government's eyes on it and a major international firm's eyes on it. Plus, all the results are published online for anyone in the world to see. So we've seen the philosophy and we've seen the structure. Now let's get to the exciting part. How is this actually being used to solve those very real challenges we talked about at the beginning?
The fund is focusing its firepower on 6 critical sectors. It's basically turning Iraq's biggest needs into investable opportunities that are absolutely essential for any modern economy.
The buy-the-service model for the Aduba Schools project is a perfect case study. Instead of the state paying a massive upfront cost to build a school, an investor does it. Then, the state simply leases the brand new, fully maintained school for, say, 10 to 15 years. After that lease is up, the school automatically becomes state property. The government gets schools built fast, and investors get a stable, long-term return. It's a total win-win.
And this brilliant idea extends far beyond just schools. No way. It's being applied to a national rent-to-own housing program, to bringing key industries back home, and even to managing the enormous Development Road Project, a strategic corridor that's expected to create over 1.5 million jobs.
Now, obviously, an ambition this huge, you can't do it alone. So the fund is actively building a powerful coalition of partners, both in the region and all across the globe. And they're already bringing in some major global players to the table. We're talking a $3 billion joint investment company with Saudi Arabia, a wide-ranging agreement with Japan, and partnerships with leading companies from the US, Germany, and Egypt. This brings in not just capital, but world-class technology and expertise right into Iraq.
And here's the end goal. This is the bottom line. The plan is to take the government's initial seed capital of roughly $1.6 billion and use it as a catalyst, a spark, to attract $10 to $12 billion in first private investment over the next few years.
And they're not stopping there. Looking ahead, the fund is already laying the groundwork for even bigger transformations. They're repackaging mega projects like the Baghdad Metro to make them attractive for investors, creating large Iraqi companies to become national champions in key industries, and fast-tracking the country's digital future.
So it all comes down to this one big question, doesn't it? Can this new model of public-private partnership, with its focus on leverage, transparency, and really smart planning, truly be the catalyst for a new, diversified, and sustainable Iraqi economy? The blueprint has been drawn. Now the execution will determine everything.